Hi, HBF Church family. It's Brian. Just coming to you this cool and moist Tuesday afternoon. Wanted to just send you another snippet from our fabulous Fifth Sunday. This is a shorter piece with Randy Foster talking about our upcoming Bible conference. And since I'm sending this out, I'm also going to attach a link to the email that you'll be getting that takes you directly to the registration. If you plan on being here that week, we really would appreciate it if you could register so we know how much food to prepare that week. Also, we're making arrangements for, social distancing and all of that, so it's a good idea to know how many people will be in the building. So thank you so much for praying for the upcoming Bible conference. Thank you for the great weekend we had. If you missed Sunday service, you'll want to get on and see Pastor Mike Pepper. You'll want to get online and hear the message from Sunday night by Joe Hendricksman. Just great time that we've had. And I do pray everybody is planning on making the Bible conference that can. I know there's still folks out with COVID, and we understand that, and we're praying for you, and we miss you, and we're happy to have you in virtually. But those that are able-bodied, and even some of you that have special restrictions, we're going to try to make opportunities for folks for even that situation that need to kind of work in isolation and in a more clean environment. So if that is you, please let Pastor Randy Foster know, as we're trying to accommodate those that can't work around groups of people with maybe off-hour, type of project work, etc. So a lot of neat things going on in regard to preparing for the upcoming Bible conference. Pray that you're encouraged today. Have a great week. Pray you had a great Labor Day weekend, and hope to see you tomorrow night. We'll be back in Ephesians, looking at the last half of Ephesians chapter 3 and talking about intercessory prayer. So be praying for all of these things, and God bless you real good, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Well, what I want to do is take a few minutes and talk about the church-wide event that comes right after the walk, and that is the Bible conference. It's something we do every year, and I think this is our 12th year of doing Bible conference, or at least the 11th year. I kind of lose count. But out in the lobby, if you haven't seen one already, is this little fourfold information packet. I would encourage you to get one. It's on the connections counter there, and it's got all the information. It's got the times and some background of our guest speaker, and some background about the place where these New Testaments are going. So I just want to kind of just give you a little bit of an oversight as to what the Bible conference is all about. If you've never been to one of our Bible conferences, what we do is we assemble either whole Bibles or New Testaments for distribution through churches or missionaries around the world, so that they can use them as tools to reach the people that they're targeting. And so this year, this is going to be the biggest project we've ever done. And so I need everybody. I know we don't have every seat full right now, but you need to encourage yourself or your family, your neighbors, everybody to come and help us, because we need a lot of help. We're doing 25,000 New Testaments, and that is the most numbers of Bibles or books that we have completed, or we hope to complete in a week's time. So this is a different kind of language. Our verse for this conference is Mark chapter 13, verse 10, which says, "And the gospel must first be published among all nations." And I think it's in Amos that talks about the fact that there's a famine in the land, and that famine is a lack of the word of God. There are over 6,000 languages in the world, and probably not even 1,000 of those languages have a whole Bible. And so one of the things that we want to do is help wherever we can. That includes help with translations. That's something we haven't gotten into completely yet, but it is something that's on all our pastors' hearts. We pray for somebody to rise up and say, I want to take on the task of translating the Word of God into a language that doesn't have the Word of God. So this language that we're doing is called Chichewa. And Chichewa is a language that I'm familiar with, because when we were missionaries in Zambia, one of the 72 different languages spoken in Zambia was Chichewa, in the southeastern corner of Zambia. And all of Malawi speaks Chichewa, and that's where all the New Testaments are going, primarily to Malawi. So this is what happened. About in 2018, I read a newsletter email from the Trinitarian Bible Society. They are, of all the Bible societies in the world, this is the only Bible society that uses what we would refer to as the Textus Receptus and the Masoretic text, which is the basis for the King James Bible. So Trinitarians said, "Hey, you know what? Chichewa doesn't have a good Bible. They had a Bible, but it was like an NIV or an ESV or something. Basically, it was not based on the same text as the King James Bible. So the Trinitarians opted to, or they I don't know how they do all their things that they do, but they took on the retranslation of the New Testament. They're actually working on the Old Testament today, but they worked on the New Testament to start with. And I read about it, and so I contacted the Trinitarian Bible Society. They're actually based in London, England. And I wrote them, and I said, hey, I'm familiar with that language, and I'm familiar with Bearing Precious Seed, which is your partner in printing. Everything that Bearing Precious Seed gets, they get it from the Trinitarians. I said, I know those people, so I'm going to do some name dropping here. And I want to ask if you would give us permission to get Bearing Precious Seed to print some New Testaments, and we'll assemble them and we'll ship them and we'll distribute them with our missionaries. One of the missionaries that we have that this church supports is Dan and Jan Jalowick in a little town called, dang, I just forgot the name of the town. Chapata, thank you, in Chapata, which is on the border of Zambia and Malawi. And so we're hoping to get a few to them. And then a man that I trained in the Bible Institute when I was in Zambia, his name is Brian Kaoma. He is a Zambian who is now a missionary in Malawi. And so I want to get him some of these New Testaments as well. But anyway, they gave us permission to do them. And so I've been waiting and praying and waiting and praying and begging. And said, when's it going to be done? When's it going to be done? Well, it was finally done at the beginning of this year. And Bearing Precious Seed finally got the text, and they got them printed, and they're ready to ship to us. And we hope to get those about a week before the conference starts. And so we're going to put these together. And, these have a lot of meaning to me because, like I said, it's one of the languages of Zambia where we were living and serving for a while. But they're going to go primarily to Malawi. They're going to go to a missionary by the name of Mark Trotter. Mark Trotter, he's more a pastor than missionary, but he goes to Malawi multiple times a year to train pastors. And so we're going to work through him. I don't know if you remember, but we had a man from Malawi speaking in our church maybe a year plus ago. Palera, and I can say his last name here, if I can find it on my notes. Palera Chibana. And so Palera, he's the pastor of Mulungushi Community Church, and under that church is two ministries. They have many ministries, but two. One is called the Passion Center for Pastors. And that is it's a 3-year training program for bush and small village pastors. And then the Passion Center for Children, which is an orphanage ministry where they work with over 350 orphans in what they call children's heading homes. Basically, the home is run by the child because there's no adults in the home. The parents have died or left or whatever. So I'm sure you'll get to know more of that. But this little brochure talks about at least the Passion Center for Children, and I'll mention that again in a minute. But the Bible Conference, like I said, is to support people that need Bibles. So these New Testaments are going to primarily go to give to the pastors so that they can give to their churches, so that their church members at least have the New Testament. And when the Old Testament is finished, we'll hopefully be able to do a whole Bible in Chichewa and get that shipped out to them as well. The dates of our Bible Conference. So if you'd look on your calendar and make sure you have a blank there. If you don't have a blank there, just delete anything that's there. Okay, so that you can schedule yourself to be here Sunday, the 20th of September through Wednesday, the 23rd of September. And then just for the sake of fun, go ahead and mark off the 24th and 25th too, because the 24th and 25th may need to be used to finalize everything. We'll finish the conference on the 23rd, which is a Wednesday night. But we may, in order to get every book out the door and on the container, we may have to work the 24th and 25th, at least part of those days. And so the sooner we can get done, the more people we have at the beginning, the faster we'll get the work done. We need to get them boxed in the container. We're having a container out in the parking lot, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. This is probably a completely different Bible conference than you're used to. Because we got a lot of things that are pressing on us as a body of believers. We've got the COVID virus to worry about, and we're working on through all of those kind of things. But one of the things I just want to mention before I get too far down in my notes is one thing we're also doing is taking donations. So the container is a 40-foot container, and we're not going to fill it up with Bibles yet. But one of these days we'll get to be in a 40-foot container full of New Testaments or Bibles. That'd be awesome. But what the other half of the container is going to contain is donations for the kids and for the church members and stuff. So what we're looking for, you can bring, and I think Pat Lee is going to kind of be the point person to get them on the container. But you can bring in gently used clothes of any age for boys, girls, moms, dads. So gently used clothes, medical supplies, shoes, and school supplies are the primary needs that they have. So whatever you want to bring, kind of bring it in a box so we can kind of stack it up inside the container and get it going. And then when the container leaves here, it's going up to someplace in the city with Midtown Baptist Temple, and they're going to load out, I don't know how many bundles of clothes, and each bundle weighs 1,000 pounds. So they've already got clothes that they're compressing into a bundle, and that bundle, I mean, it's as big as a pallet, probably 2 foot tall. And so each one of them weighs about 1,000 pounds. And so they'll take everything you donate and they'll take it up there if it's clothes, and they'll put them in a bundle and get them ready to go and get the container shipped out. So that's kind of what we're doing. But we're also doing something else different this year. Now we're feeding everybody like we do every year, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the meals. And out in the lobby out there is a little tear-off board where you can bring in side dishes to kind of help with the food load. And so please grab one of those or 10 of them, whatever you're comfortable with. We'll make 10 casseroles. We'd love to have you make 10 casseroles. But we're going to have a tent sitting outside in the parking lot, and that's the dining hall. And we're going to feed everybody in there instead of trying to crowd everybody into the common grounds room, which everybody knows is fun. But we're not going to do that this year. We're going to eat outside. And then we're going to have what I you're probably familiar with, maybe some people aren't, but what's called a lunch and learn, where you eat lunch and somebody, talks about something. Well, we're going to have nutrition and knowledge. Yeah. So, but that basically is, we're going to take about 20 minutes during the time that everybody's eating, and we're just going to, bust the word open, and Mark Trotter is going to speak. And so that'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So just a short time. So we'll eat outside for at least lunch and dinner. Breakfast will be in the common grounds room, because we don't expect 200 people at breakfast. But if we do have 200 people at breakfast, then we'll shift things. So we do need to be careful about COVID. I want to mention this real quick because I know people are concerned about what are we doing about protecting. So I'm going to just give you the basic 3 things. Wash your hands, maintain social distancing, and if you prefer, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, then that's up to you. Unless you're working on the binder and the trimmer. Everybody that's working on a machine must wear a mask. So if you don't have a mask, we'll provide it. But if you're but we need to keep social distance. So when we set up the classrooms for rolling and checking and all of that, they'll be set up to try to enforce that. But I'm just asking everybody also and reminding people, just please maintain that. We don't need to get people sick. We are going to have a lot of people here that are not members of this church. And so you may not trust as many people that are here. Don't feel bad about that, but just be cautious. We're going to make sure that, I'm not going to go through all the whole list. I got a list of like 25 things that we're going to make sure that we do to try to protect everybody. And that'd be boring for you to have me read that all. But if you have a question, just ask me and I'll be glad to show you the list, okay? This is the things that we're trying to do to keep people protected. One of them, the last thing I'll probably mention as far as COVID, is this room will be occupied by a lot of people during the services each night. But we need to social distance inside this room. But we're also going to have, I think, at least 5 rooms where we're going to route a signal from the video camera to the TVs in the room, so that you can social distance. You can stay in those rooms as an overflow. Just give us a little bit more room to spread out, and so you'll see how all that's going to work when we get there, and so. The Bible conference is an important part of this church's ministries, because we believe as a church, at least the leaders do, I hope you do too, that the church is responsible for the caretaking of the Word of God. That means that we need to protect it. That means we need to distribute it, and we need to teach it. and we need to make sure it's getting taught correctly. And so that's why we're involved in this Bible project, so the New Testaments can go to the pastors who are being trained. And I think next year when Mark goes on one of his trips, I think there'll be some people from this church that will go. Wouldn't that be awesome to be able to see the Bibles, the New Testaments being passed out that you put together? I don't know if I'll be able to go on that trip, but I would love to be a part of it. So this is an awesome thing. I believe I just think it's a great thing to do. I think it's important for this church. So please come. So just real quickly, the hours. So we'll have service on Sunday morning like normal. And as soon as they say dismiss, then you can either go home and eat and come back, or you can go out to the tent and eat, or you can just skip eating and go to work, whatever you prefer. And so we'll get started, and then we'll have service at 6 o'clock on Sunday, the evening service, because that's the normal time for evening service on Sunday is 6 o'clock, and we'll go up till about, 6:30 or 7:30, 7:45, somewhere in there, and we'll dismiss and we'll go back to work. And if you prefer to work longer than 10 o'clock, you're more than welcome to, as long as somebody's here to make sure that, things are monitored. So if there's, that reminds me of another point on COVID anyway, is if you, there are some people in our church that feel, and rightfully so, they're in a risk group, a risk category. And so we're going to try to make sure we can accommodate them in some way. I was just thinking about one of the ways could be possibly turn my office into a place where some of those people could just go in and we can make sure they get signatures and make sure that they have whatever they need and they can just do some part of the project just to kind of work out. So they're in a separated room. Or if we have to use another room over on this side, if we have enough people, then we'll do that. Or if you want to come in and work at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we'll give you a key. So, or I don't know, I have to go through Jim on that. But Jim probably didn't like me saying that. But anyway, the point is we're trying to accommodate everybody because we want everybody to have a hand in putting these New Testaments together. And so, so those are basically the things. So that from Monday, we'll start about 7:30, 8. I think breakfast is at 7:30. We'll start working at 8, and we'll work all day and take a break. People continue to work even while some people are eating lunch. Other people may still be working, and then at dinner, we'll pause everything, have dinner, and have a service, and go back to work again. But if we don't finish all the 225,000 New Testaments, if we don't finish them all by Wednesday night, then we'll stay until we can, or come back on Thursday and try to wrap up the project. So if you're able to come on Thursday, if we need to, and I'll keep you posted on that. But if we need to do that, I need help. So we have a large Bible ministry team from several different churches, but I also hope to see more of you as well to come and be a part of that. And so I don't have a video to show you or anything like that, but if you've never done a Bible conference, if you go to wordfirstpublishing.org, there's a video on there. You can go to the hbfcast.org and go to the page for the Bible conference. I think there's a video there as well, so you can kind of get an idea what it looks like. What does a Bible conference look like, and what kind of work is being done? So I think that's basically everything I wanted to cover on the Bible conference. Like I said, I'm not going to read you my whole list of COVID prevention steps, but we are going to try to do a lot, and the lot is the 25,000 New Testaments. And I am excited about this, just the fact that we're taking on such a large project as that number. And I will say that probably shouldn't say this, but we've gotten at least almost all of the funding for the New Testaments and for the shipping. Yeah, so God has been really blessing us, and that's really a good thing. And so anyway, grab one of these brochures, take several of them, pass them out to people that you know that you would like to encourage them to come, and why they should be here. And so I'm going to pause now because we're almost out of time, and then I got to come back up here in a minute. All right, thank you.